I was overseas for a year, all I could talk about were America this and Americans that, to the point where if people were to describe me as, oh, the one girl that misses America. All she does is talk about America. And I had no clue why. Because I am American and my neighbors are American, my friends are American. And we just do things that just make us who we are.
The favorite thing about being an American is the fact that I have the freedom of religion. So I was initially Hindu and then I converted to Islam, I reverted to Islam, and no one really judges me. And I really like that about this country. True, we have issues, we have stereotypes, we have racism, but at the end of the day, I can still walk down on the street, I can still interact with my family, and they still consider me their own. So that's why I feel this pride to have the freedom to practice what I want to practice in this country.
Alhamdulillah, Allah put me in a place where there's a mosque right by my house, and I get to follow Islam, freedom of religion. No one can stop me on how I speak about Islam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
One of the things which I like in America is the type of intellectual freedom. I know sometimes it goes far beyond what we call the true sense of freedom, but intellectual freedom is that you can study, you can challenge, you can argue, and you can still have your point of view, even if you can differ with somebody, but the working relationship will still be there.
Favorite thing about being an American is that there is no definition of being an American, because basically America is just this one big melting pot, and everybody from a bunch of different cultures came in together, and that is the definition of America. It's not one race and one culture, it's everybody together living and the cultures mixing together.
I love to educate people, and so when people come up to me in the street and, oh, you know, why are you wearing this? I love explaining it to them. And in other Muslim countries, you know, it's primarily Muslim, so we don't really get the opportunity. And so that's one of the things that I really enjoy about being in America.
I really like that we have, and maybe this because I grew up in another part of the world and then I came here, I like that we have, that people have their privacy and they don't get too much involved in other people's lives. I feel like, when I lived in other parts of the world, it's like everyone gets involved in what you're doing and have something to tell you, your relatives, your friends, your neighbors. I feel here people have more their privacy and people don't care what you really do.
My favorite thing about being an American is that I have choices. What I mean by that is that I can basically decide what kind of woman I want to be.
I'm able to go from a little girl impoverished to having my own business, to having, to becoming a nurse, to becoming a nurse practitioner, running my own business still, taking care of my kids, with the family and buying your own house. I don't know if I could do that in another country. You have this caste system where you're here and you're going to stay here. And here in America, even though there's a lot of problems here, you're able to move forward.
Traveling throughout the United States without being like back in Palestine, we have all these checkpoints. You go 1 kilometer, there's a checkpoint. You go another kilometer, there's a checkpoint. Then it's just I could ride my car and go to Washington, D.C. No one will stop me.
I like many things about being an American, but I would say one of my favorite things, the thing that I take pride in Americans, is that those that have been part of this culture for a while, they typically demonstrate graciousness and just general courtesy. And what I mean by that is, let's say you take your basic service provider, like someone who gives you a haircut, somebody who does massage, somebody who's your waiter or your waitress. I feel like in this culture, most people extend common courtesies like, hey, thank you, I appreciate that.
That Allah has put us Muslims in this time and place in America. And I really do think that there's something magical, something amazing is going to happen within our context in America and what it's going to do for America and the world. So that eternal hope in the future, and just being part of America, being part of the American fabric right now. It's exciting, I think. I don't get too down on the good old US of A. I always think that, I mean, it always says, I think it says in the Constitution, to make a more perfect union. So that means it's always trying to perfect itself. It's never done. It can never be done. Because there's always someone who's like not having a right that they should have, that's probably being denied, and that eternal struggle for those rights, or for people who are trying to take them away.
Like, people believe in American exceptionalism, but I actually don't. I think that anything that is exceptional about America belongs to the rest of the world as well. So when we talk about whether or not constitutional rights attach if the person is undocumented, like, these things are totally irrelevant to me. Like, if a thing is a human right, it belongs to everyone on any side of any border. And if it's not a human right, then it doesn't matter if it's in the Constitution. So I guess that's what I like about being human.
One of the activities I enjoy most about being an American is protesting. And that may sound counterintuitive, but I was always taught that our country was founded in protest. And so the idea that disagreeing with our government, that challenging injustice and oppression is a patriotic thing to do, is one of my favorite things about being an American.
I also don't have to worry about whether or not my identity compromises me being Muslim. I don't have to think about it. That's one of the beautiful things about this country, is that it's gotten to, it's always strove towards and gotten even to the point, and it continues to grow into this realm, or this identity or this parameter where you can express yourself and continue to be yourself and not have to second guess yourself, or have to constantly adjust or look over your shoulder even.
You know what I think is interesting about being American is that nobody sort of has the monopoly on defining what it means to be an American. It's a very unique, I think, I've thought about this a little bit, because when I did my master's, it was about what it means to be an American. And in other places, my parents from India, you can say you lived in India, have this heritage and whatever. But in America, except for Native Americans, nobody is from here. So no one can really define what it means to be an American. So what's exciting is that everybody has an opportunity to contribute to the culture and what it means to be an American. And no one can say that's un-American, because there's no hard definition for what it is and what it isn't.